either younger than us or, passed and retired. So why not? I want to challenge myself. The best always looking to fight the best and challenge themselves, and why not, challenge.
Terence Crawford can't beat him, right? This is a money grab for Terence Crawford. It's just a situation where Terence Crawford is trying to fill up his bank account opposed to actually his legacy.
But if you study Floyd closely, like I have, you will notice that he never wastes any steps while he's in the ring.
During a live conversation with Stephen A. Smith, Terence Crawford reportedly agreed to the fight proposal presented by Floyd Mayweather Jr. Crawford shared that he views boxing as a sport built on taking risks, embracing difficult matchups, and constantly challenging himself against elite competition. He stated that true greatness comes when top fighters are willing to face one another, adding that he has no hesitation about stepping into another major challenge. Remaining composed and self-assured throughout the interview, Crawford explained that a showdown with Mayweather would give him another opportunity to demonstrate his abilities and exceed what people expect from him.
Businessman, because this is Terence the businessman talking, right? They got to pay the cheddar to make it better, right?
For sure. All money ain't good money, so you got to know that.
Okay, fair enough. I hate to use the word easy, but at times it did feel like you were, having a really easy time out there. Were you expecting it to play out that way?
Listen, it's never easy,
Stephen A. Smith has never been shy about expressing strong opinions in the world of sports, especially when it comes to boxing. So when he speaks highly of Terence Crawford for winning world titles across 4 separate weight classes, it carries far more weight than an ordinary compliment. In a time when many fighters avoid changing divisions because of the danger and uncertainty that come with it, Crawford's success in multiple weight categories makes his accomplishments stand out even more. Stephen A. points out that reaching that level of success in 4 divisions is one of the clear signs of a truly elite pound-for-pound fighter. According to him, Crawford's achievements go beyond simple physical talent. They reflect his ability to adjust to different opponents and styles, his high-level boxing intelligence, his resilience under pressure, and his determination to continue pursuing tougher challenges throughout his career.
Terence Crawford is the best fighter on the planet. Pound for pound, he's that dude. In this 4-belt era, he is now the undisputed world champion 3 times over. 140 pounds, 147, now 168 pounds, claiming all the belts. You don't see people doing that very often. Going up against a guy who was perceived as being bigger and stronger, Crawford was strong. Crawford was strong enough to fend him off, strong enough to make him respect his own power. He used his jab, he used his distance. He had poise in the ring, he wasn't rattled. He backed up and moved when necessary and kept us different. He exchanged enough to gain respect when necessary. It was a brilliant, masterful fight on Terence Crawford's.
Roy Jones Jr., a fighter who understands better than most what it takes to succeed in multiple weight classes, has praised Terence Crawford for his intelligence and creativity inside the ring. Speaking about Crawford's performance against Canelo Alvarez, Jones explained that Crawford showed elements of the styles used by both Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Erislandy Lara, 2 men who each gave Canelo difficult moments in very different ways. Jones believes that Crawford's ability to study successful tactics and then apply them effectively during a fight is what makes him stand out from the rest. In his view, that level of awareness shows that Crawford is more than just naturally talented. It reveals someone who truly understands the sport at a deeper level. What stood out the most to Jones was that Crawford did not merely copy what others had done before him. Instead, he adjusted those methods to fit his own style and timing, allowing them to work even better during live action. That kind of flexibility is rare among top fighters and is one of the main reasons Crawford continues to separate himself from opponents who rely too heavily on a single approach.
Canelo Alvarez has been a great fighter his whole career. People like Erislandy Lara gave you the blueprint on how to beat him. People like Floyd Mayweather also gave you the blueprint on how to beat him. But Bud is more fierce more fearsome and more angrier and more meaner than both of those guys. So you know, if they showed you the blueprint, Bud gonna go out there, take that blueprint and do even more with it, which is what Bud did. So it was never a question in my mind whether Bud really was going to outbox me, just if he could take the punch. And right away he showed, bam, he could take the punch. So I knew from that point, if he just slow him down, which he did, he'd be okay. Then late in the fight, what other people still didn't see, late in the fight, Bud started hitting Canelo's body. One of those body shots, I think about the 7th or 8th round, hurt Canelo. I was like, whoa. Bud hit him in the right spot then. He got Canelo's respect with that too. So Bud fought a very, very awesome fight, fought a beautiful fight, very tactical.
Very controlled.
Yes, it was a beautiful fight for boxing.
It was a beautiful fight. You know, Bud got hit with some shots.
He did. He got
hit with some single shots going out. You know, he's going out and you know Canelo, if he has you trapped in the corner or along the ropes, it's typically 1 to 2 big shots. You know that if you've watched him.
Yep.
So you could tell Crawford, as he was going out, he knew the one shot was coming, and several times it landed. He even got hit with a 2-piece. I don't remember what round it was, uppercut right hand that Crawford took well. So when you started seeing him absorb the shots, if you're Team Crawford, you don't want him to take that shot. But if you started seeing that, now you know that, okay. And I think that's what gave Crawford the green light to stay there a little bit longer.
He smiled about it.
Yeah. And sometimes that smile can be a lie. And sometimes that smile can mean what I think it meant for Crawford, which is, oh, that's not as bad as I thought it was.
The possibility of Terence Crawford sharing the ring with Floyd Mayweather Jr., even for an exhibition event, has created major discussion throughout the boxing world. Some critics believe a matchup like this could negatively affect Crawford's reputation. In their view, after dominant performances against fighters such as Errol Spence Jr. and Canelo Alvarez, stepping into an exhibition could make it appear as though financial gain has become more important than pursuing meaningful competitive achievements. Much of that criticism comes from the direction Mayweather's career has taken in recent years, with his focus shifting toward lucrative exhibition appearances instead of fights tied to championship legacy. Many boxing observers feel Crawford has invested too much effort into building his career to risk changing public perception at this stage. However, others see the situation differently. They argue that Crawford has already accomplished enough to cement his place among boxing's elite, and a meeting with Mayweather would not damage that status. Instead, they believe it would simply become another memorable moment in an already remarkable career.
Terence Crawford. It's just a situation where Terence Crawford is trying to fill up his bank account opposed to actually his legacy. This is what was being said, right? This is what people perceived. Terence Crawford was just attempting to cash out.
When boxing fans begin comparing the careers of Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Terence Crawford, the discussion quickly becomes complicated. Mayweather's record features victories over several legendary fighters and remains one of the most accomplished resumes in boxing history. Still, some critics question the circumstances surrounding certain wins. They often mention that Canelo Alvarez was still developing as a fighter when he stepped into the ring with Mayweather, while Manny Pacquiao reportedly dealt with physical issues during their highly anticipated 2015 showdown. Another point frequently raised by critics is Mayweather's decision not to pursue rematches in certain major rivalries, especially against Pacquiao, which left some supporters wondering how those matchups might have unfolded under different circumstances. Meanwhile, supporters of Crawford argue that many of his biggest victories came against opponents who were viewed as being near their peak when they fought him. Because of this, debates continue over whether Mayweather's undefeated success was driven purely by his extraordinary talent or also by carefully selected timing and matchmaking throughout his career.
Mayweather is still greater than Terence Crawford. We need to really talk about this now. A lot of you guys are putting Crawford a bit too high. If you want to say Crawford could beat Floyd, I'm more open to that conversation, but when you're lining up the careers, I'm going to say Floyd every time. While they're both 5 division, Bud has become 3-time undisputed, but he's only fought 10 world champions to Floyd's 25 world champions. You can't take away the 5 division, 3-time undisputed. In terms of accolades, yeah, he probably gets the nod over Floyd. I say their accolades are about relative, considering Floyd Mayweather won Fighter of the Decade as well. But when you get to the resumes, Pacquiao, Oscar, Canelo, Cotto, Mosley, Castillo, Marquez, Zab, Gotti, Hatton, and Corley. There's probably way more people that this guy just didn't name. And then when you get to Bud's resume, not saying it's just bad, but the only names that's really worth mentioning is going to be Spence and Canelo. It's not a knock on Bud. Bud was not able to make those fights early on in his career. But I got to tell you guys what it is. Bud's resume just doesn't line up with Floyd's. Take their top 20 wins. Bud don't even got 20 wins to really sit here and name. Floyd got a good 20-something plus. Bud probably got about 15, 10 wins that we could really sit here and name. Floyd's still greater than Bud in my opinion.
Tony Jeff, a respected boxing analyst, has emphasized that Floyd Mayweather's greatest weapon was not just his defense or speed, but his mindset. According to Jeff, Floyd's unwavering belief that he could beat anyone was what made him truly formidable. Even in fights where the odds seemed close, Mayweather's confidence in supreme boxing IQ always gave him an edge. His ability to read opponents, adapt within seconds, and stay calm under pressure set him apart from other fighters who relied solely on physical gifts. Jeffer notes that this psychological edge, combined with technical precision, made Floyd appear almost unbeatable, and it is why he retired with an unblemished record.
Mindset, they're really confident, they really believe in themselves, but you need more than that mindset. You need to have the full package of everything that I'm talking about, what Floyd has got.
Fighters should only want to get better. The more you win, the more you should work harder. If you think about losing, you're going to lose. All I ever thought about was winning. So that's all I know.
Floyd would visualize his success before he even stepped into the ring. There was no alternative to him but winning. And this mindset isn't just for boxing, it's for all walks of life. And I've actually done a full video talking about how I used this mindset of visualization to win my Olympic medal. And it was an absolute game changer. Now, Floyd used to use this mindset to ease the pressure that he put himself under. And he made himself think like, I'm not under any pressure right now, where he was under immense pressure.
Pressure either makes you or break you. Well, you see where I'm at, so it's obvious that I'm the type of athlete or I'm the type of entertainer that can deal with pressure. There's never no pressure.
Now, if you watch his fight in 2013 when he fought Canelo Alvarez, Canelo came in a young, strong, undefeated fighter. But by round 2, Floyd kind of had him figured out. He was reading Canelo's jab. He would slip outside and then come back with a clean counter punch, then move his feet and get out of the way. He basically had the full fight under control, and he was controlling the full rhythm of the fight. He was forcing Canelo to fight at his pace. And this is what he would do in all of his fights. He would get his opponent to do what he wanted them to do without their opponent even realizing it, which is what we call boxing IQ. Now, even though I'm not a fan of Floyd Mayweather personally, because of the time when I did meet him, what he said to me made me just feel like this guy.
The boxing world is constantly searching for exciting new matchups, and one scenario gaining major attention lately is a potential showdown between Terence Crawford and David Benavidez. Benavidez is known for his physical strength, punching power, and non-stop pressure inside the ring, qualities that many believe would create a serious test for Crawford. Supporters of the matchup view it as the type of challenge that could force Crawford into unfamiliar territory and push his abilities to another level. Even without an official announcement, discussion surrounding the fight continues to grow. The excitement around this possibility also reflects what many fans want from modern boxing: dangerous, legacy-shaping contests instead of exhibition events driven mainly by financial appeal. A battle between Crawford and Benavidez would symbolize a fascinating contrast in styles, with technical precision and ring intelligence going against size, pressure, and aggression, which is why so many boxing fans consider it a dream matchup.
Not me, but shocked the world. This past Saturday, Mexican Independence Day weekend, what he took on and defeated another first ballot Hall of Famer, but he essentially jumped up 3 weight classes, technically 2, from 154 to 168, but only had 1 fight at 154 last August against Israel Majimov. Terence Crawford defeated Saul Canelo Alvarez, who is a 4-division champion, 2-time undisputed super middleweight, and the reigning, at the time, super middleweight world champion, undisputed world champion. And Terence Crawford beat him handily and convincingly. And because he beat him so easily, now the 63 win, 3 loss, 2 draw, 39 win by way of knockout, biggest threat has been now imposed on Terence Bud Crawford. And that's the Mexican Ecuadorian monster, David Benavidez, who is a 2-division undefeated world champion, is the 2-time WBC super middleweight and reigning WBC light heavyweight, 175-pound champion, who has a record of 30 wins, no loss, no draw, 24 wins by way of knockout. He stands 6'2" with a 75-inch arm reach. This is a fight that David Benavidez has been calling for Canelo Alvarez when he was at 168, and Canelo Alvarez strategically maneuvered around him. But Canelo Alvarez is 5'7" with a 70-inch arm reach, started his career at 147 pounds, made his real name at 154 pounds. He's not a big guy, okay? And styles make fights. Benavidez is 6'2" with a 75-inch arm reach. His last fight at 168 against Demetrius Andrade, he rehydrated to 193. So he's a big guy. Canelo Alvarez probably rehydrate to 182, maybe 185 max, right? He's not a big guy, right?
The debate surrounding Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Terence Crawford is one that may never produce a definitive answer. Both men competed against elite opponents during their own eras and consistently delivered dominant results inside the ring. Mayweather separated himself with an undefeated record and remarkable defensive ability, while Crawford has earned admiration for continuing to succeed while moving through multiple weight divisions. What makes the comparison so difficult is how different their careers and circumstances have been. The sport evolved around them in different periods, making a direct head-to-head evaluation nearly impossible. In the end, choosing one over the other may come down to personal preference. But many fans agree that both fighters represent the very highest level of greatness the sport has to offer.
My goodness, I said that was going to happen. If Crawford was to win, we're going to be seeing a lot of these debates on whether or not Floyd Mayweather or Terence Crawford is going to be better. Now, this is going to be a debate for a long, long time. I'm talking about one of those debates like LeBron versus MJ, Messi versus Ronaldo. It's one of those. And the thing is, I can get behind it. Let me go ahead and say this. When it comes to resume, I do think we give Floyd Mayweather the edge. I mean, he beat a bunch of champions. He reigned for a long time. While Crawford, his resume is heavily criticized, and he's just not getting, his kind of respect for beating Errol Spence and Canelo Alvarez. But if we're talking strictly off of skills, this is where things get really, really tough to talk about. I think a fair assessment of this matchup would be Floyd Mayweather wins from 135 and 140, while Crawford wins from 147 to 154. And I say that because I feel like Floyd's style changed once he got to welterweight. He became a more defensive fighter, and he just wasn't as much focused on offense. And knowing this, I feel like Crawford would have had a much better chance of handling him. And we all know, Crawford was an absolute monster at welterweight. But hey man, like I said, this is going to be a debate for a very long time. And I can't wait to hear all the talk about it. But I'm curious on your thoughts. Who do you think wins in the fight? Floyd or Terence Crawford? Let's talk about it, and follow me for more boxing talk.
Greg Hackett described Terence Crawford's victory over Canelo Alvarez as more than just another major win. By referring to Canelo as boxing's top figure, Hackett highlighted the level of dominance and respect Canelo had built throughout more than 10 years in the sport. Because of that reputation, Crawford's performance carried far greater significance than a normal championship victory. According to Hackett, the fight represented a major change in the balance of power within boxing. Crawford did not simply compete with Canelo. He controlled the action and broke down one of the sport's most feared champions. In Hackett's eyes, that moment established Crawford as the new leading force in boxing, the fighter other competitors now look at as the most dangerous man in the sport. Rather than only strengthening his achievements on paper, the victory completely changed how many people view the current boxing landscape, positioning Crawford as the man who replaced the former king at the top.
You gotta remember, Canelo is the guy right now in the sport that's supposed to be the man, big bad wolf. You beat him, you the wolf. Now it's like, you know what I mean? Like, all right, who else I'm gonna fight? You beat the shark, you beat the wolf. Right. Damn. Like, you know what I mean? Ain't no more ops out there. It's ops out there, but who gonna make them really want to get up? That's the
Shit
question.
gotta make sense.
That's
Like you said, you be the shark and then you be the wolf.
Yeah.
But there's the monster.
Yeah, it is, but that's like a real monster.
Bro, that's to me it don't make sense. But that's
really
what
a monster.
Yo, is that proof? All right, we got the legendary Pape in the building. Legend.
Sure, man.
But what makes sense? Like, what makes the most sense? I know you said get a line of suits, Brooks Brothers.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
the line suits get your money, man. Yeah, go ahead and get the easy money, man. You ain't gotta sweat no more.
What's up,
Not saying you ain't gotta work, you ain't gotta sweat.
What's happening?
He's paved a career where he could sit down at a table and get this money. He could come out with a Terence Crawford series now, just whatever, doing whatever he like to do. People gonna watch it. Nobody, the fighting part, people don't understand what it's like to be a fighter. A lot of times fighters really don't be interested in certain fights. It's cause when a guy see himself up here and then is fighting a guy down here, it don't interest him. So therefore, when he train, he not gonna really train. He gonna train, but he not gonna train. He not gonna listen. He gonna feel like his coach taking it too serious, and he's like, man, this ain't.
Removed many of the remaining questions surrounding his legacy. Even before that performance, Crawford had already answered a large number of critics through his dominant victory against Errol Spence Jr. In that matchup, he demonstrated complete control by dictating the pace and taking command of the fight from beginning to end. Still, many observers believe it was his performance against Canelo that truly secured his place among boxing's all-time greats. Canelo had long been viewed as one of the sport's most difficult and respected champions, which made Crawford's dominance even more significant. Following those major victories, many analysts now see little room for debate regarding Crawford's standing in boxing history. His continued success against elite champions across different weight classes has become powerful proof of his greatness and overall superiority inside the ring.
I think there was enough action, and I think Crawford displayed his skill enough, even to someone with not the most trained eye, that they know they saw a very high-level athlete perform something at a very high level last night. I think he gained the sports world's attention last night and respect. He already did after Spence, but it went to another level in this fight.
And I think even the fight itself, like just from a median level, but then the moments where they were having these exchanges, like kind of late in the fight, then people were like, all right, it was good. Then like, okay, I saw somebody like, they're squabbing, like there's a fight here. So I think it did.
And Crawford closed the show.
Yeah.
In 10, 11, 12, he stood in there and landed some hard shots and rocked Canelo at the bell. He didn't. Well, James was talking about the great Floyd Mayweather. Floyd would go up on you 8-0 and then coast, and you might as well turn the fight off at midway through the ninth. Like, you know, he's not gonna. But Crawford didn't do.
That wraps up today's video. Thanks for watching, and be sure to stay connected for more updates and coverage. Until next time.